What's going on, everybody? Devore, Havoc, Shake Money. This is the Not for Debate podcast. Be sure to go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, comment, and most definitely share. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor, and also all other major streaming platforms. We have a special guest this evening, Shake Money's longtime friend, Joe Machado, 1978, but he has given me permission this evening to just call him Joe. What's going on, Joe?
Ain't nothing, just here chilling with you guys this evening.
Hey, appreciate you coming out, man.
No problem.
Me too.
Now, I guess the first question I'm going to ask is, how did y'all meet?
We live on the same neighborhood. That's how my little brother was the one that's, I don't know how it happened. They were just outside. They came across each other, and next thing you know, my little brother and him just walked right in my room. And it was on since then.
That was back in the day when folks used to be outside the house.
What year was this? Because
Oh man. I don't know what year. It was like late 80s.
Like 88, 89, around that time.
88, 89, so I wasn't even born yet. Shout out to Quint Riddle in the chat, by the way. So let me ask you this. Back in 88, 89, what were little boys doing back then?
I had a bunch of wrestling action figures and
Nintendo.
I was into all that, you know. Shake was the one that brought the Nintendo to my house for the very first time. That was the first time I ever played Nintendo from him bringing it over to my house. So, you know, that's how it was. That's what we were doing when we were kids. It was a lot of wrestling stuff.
And nudie magazines.
yeah, you know, True Live Crew.
See, that was a little bit before my time. I was about 4 years old, so
I wasn't even born yet.
I was on that Nintendo, and you know, you grow up in South Florida, you just play out in the street all day, and then you just go home when it's time for dinner time. So that's basically what we did. You play street football, play street baseball, basketball, street you name it. You was out in the street all day.
Yep.
The funny thing about me and Joe, though, was my mom was saying that Joe was the bad influence, and his mom was saying that I was the bad influence. Oh, man.
Okay, so I'm interested to hear I don't want to say a bad story because I don't want to get nobody in trouble here. Yeah, so you got too many of those? Okay, so
y'all see
go ahead and tell me the best one. Tell me the best one. How about
y'all
that?
see Devore trying to jam y'all up?
All right, I tell you what. I'll tell you the funniest one. Me back in the day, we used to we were out of high school. I was about 19 and 20. We used to get homeless guys to buy our liquor. And there was a lot of those in Carroll City.
Mm-hmm.
So what we used to do is my boy, he's in a wheelchair. He's in an electrical wheelchair. He used to put a radio on the side of it, and we used to blast a lot of music, mostly Bone Thugs and Harmony and Tupac. But anyway, I would sit in the back of his chair, and we ride to the flea market from our house, which was like, all right, our house was on 195th, 199th, and 47th. The flea market was on 183rd and 27th. So we used to ride in a wheelchair, and we got drunk one night. And what I used to do was I used to sit in the back of his chair, and we used to ride the flea market. Everybody would be like, "Oh shit, look at him," you know, because they never seen nothing like that, you know. So when I used to lean forward, he would pop a wheelie. So we were out in the parking lot. The barber shop was like, "Hey, come over here. Oh, we want you to show us the wheelie again." So he did the wheelie, right? But he wanted to get fancy with it because we were both drunk off our asses at this point. I drank like 2 bottles of Cisco. He drank like about 3 or 4 40 ounces at the time. which you can't buy in Florida
You were
anymore.
12 years
You
old at this
said
time?
3 or 4 40 ounces at this time?
Were you in middle school at this time?
You can't
Jake?
buy 40 ounces and not anymore. But it's 32. But yeah, that was Joe Drake. But anyway, he tried to do a 360 to impress everybody. But instead of doing the 360, we both fell over. Oh man! And I was laughing, and everybody was like, "Oh man, how can you laugh at your homeboy who fell off his wheelchair?" And we looked at him, and we had this big old smile. And then we were crossing the street that night, and we almost got hit by a car. I'm like, Joe, we almost got hit by that car. He's like, huh? Dude was sleeping while he was driving. I'm like, oh shit.
My gosh. This man was WWI. Wheeling while impaired.
Oh, yeah. So that's pretty much that's one of our funny stories.
Okay, that's what's up. So let me ask you this, Joe, because Shake, he's a Miami Heat fan, and he was telling me that you're a Los Angeles Lakers fan. So would you like to elaborate on how you ended up being the Los Angeles Laker fan? Consider how you're on the East Coast.
Yeah. Well, growing up, I was a Chicago fan at first. Michael Jordan, man, that's who I was on, Michael Jordan. And then, when their run ended, I still kept my eye on the Bulls, but we know how they were trash and still is. But then, by being a Bulls fan, Phil Jackson kept coaching. And I also was a fan of Shaquille O'Neal. So when he came into the league and moved over to LA, I was watching from a distance, but wasn't really like rooting for them and whatever. But when Phil Jackson got over there, and then, we're hearing about this Kobe Bryant guy, and he's supposed to be the next thing to Michael Jordan. So when I'm watching and seeing all the comparisons to Michael Jordan, and then I'm like, you got Phil Jackson as your coach. So you could say basically Phil Jackson is what kind of like lured me over there and became a fan. And that's what it is. It's still like that since Phil became back in 2000, I believe it was.
Okay, that's what's up. So I'm assuming you developed some type of love for Kobe too as well when you moved over to the Lakers.
I mean, I already had my eye on him since I was hearing about him in the mid-'90s when they were talking about this guy coming out of high school and all that. When I saw Kevin Garnett come out the year before out of high school, and I'm like, okay, it might be a little thing that's happening with high school students and whatever. But then Kobe was the last one at that time, and then LeBron came out years later. But yeah, I was watching Kobe. Then I remember watching all the air balls, and he shot, against Utah and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know about this Mike comparison they talking about, but but he eventually got it together when Phil came over. Phil got it all under control, and I don't know. I guess that's what happened. I guess that that's why they call him the Zen master. Yeah. I guess.
Phil let him play though, because back in the day it was Del Harris, and he was out there playing Eddie Jones over Kobe Bryant.
All right.
Once they got Del Harris about the picture, they got Shaq. They moved out Eddie Jones. They shipped out Nick Van Exel. That team was ready to go. So you were never a Heat fan?
No.
So you a team switcher. You just
I mean, if you want to call it that, I mean you can, but not really. I mean, I followed, like I said, it was a connection.
You're more like you follow players.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of, because like I said, I liked Shaq, but I didn't. I watched Shaq, but whatever, he was in Orlando, but I was a Bulls fan, like straight up Bulls. It was Jordan and Pippen all day with me, and I seen other players all around the league and whatever. And then Shaq was just the most dominant guy at the time, so he had my eye on him. And and then I'm hearing how he just left Orlando and everything that he's done in such a short time by getting that team to the finals, and then they get swept, and then he just leaves. It's like, whatever, I don't want to be there, so I'm gone. He took the money and went on to LA. So I was still watching. I didn't really jump on LA like that. I was just watching to see what he was doing over there. But like I mentioned, it was just the whole thing with Phil Jackson going over there was the dagger. for me. Because, I seen Shaq and Kobe go over there together, and, I'm looking, but whatever. But then, my guys are done. Chicago was done. Mike was out of the league. Mike came back in the league, but he was a wizard. That wasn't the same Mike, even though he had little moments, but that wasn't the same Mike.
That was jump shot Jordan.
Yeah, straight up, because he really couldn't do too much anymore like what he was able to do before. So, but
yeah, he had that, and it was actually I actually enjoyed watching it because he still had the athletic talent. It's just he just couldn't pull it out the bag for 40 minutes a night anymore. But jump shot was looking crisp all season long though. I remember that much.
Yeah.
He averaged like 20 a game, right?
20, 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was out there still giving them the work.
I remember one of his last games versus the Hawks in the MCI Center.
Okay. I honestly, I just looked at that as Michael Jordan saying to himself, I still got it. And he came back and he still had it, and that was it. It's like, all right, Mike. Like everybody knows you got it, Mike. Like you ain't gotta be out here at 40-something years old, trying to show everybody the business. Like I get it. Like the second he went on the court, he basically was the best player on that team. Although they had just drafted Rip Hamilton as well, and Rip Hamilton was his backup in Washington. But yeah.
Everybody was real young over there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They had a young Ty Lue.
You're right. I mean, honestly, what name a team Ty Lue didn't play for? He didn't play for, but you're right though. Jump shot Jordan. The best thing about that season was the All-Star game. Because Jordan was in his last All-Star game, and he hit like the game-winning shot over Kobe in the All-Star game. That was amazing.
But wait a minute, that wasn't the All-Star game that went to overtime, and Kevin Garnett basically stole the MVP award from Jordan?
Did it go to overtime?
It went to overtime.
Okay.
Jordan basically hit the game tying shot.
He hit the shot to send him to overtime. Gotcha.
Right. And then Kevin Garnett took over in the overtime. And was it him that won the MVP?
It might have been. It might have been because his MVP season was 2004. So there was like a 3-year span where Kevin Garnett was that guy.
Yeah.
Then he got injured, but still that guy.
Yeah, because he bounced back when he got to Boston. He was a monster then.
Yeah, well, the first season in Boston was amazing. And then he got injured, and he basically just was like a defensive leader / decoy on offense because he didn't have the bounce anymore.
Yeah.
Still love KG though. Still one of my favorite players.
Real quick, Joe. As far as your top 3 GOATs, well,
come on.
Let's rank your top 3 best players of all time here.
In what, basketball?
Basketball, yes.
Oh man, people always ask me this, and they think I'm crazy when I say 0.5 Jordan, 0.5 Kobe. That equals my 1.
That's fair. 1A, 1B.
Something like that.
I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
Yes. And 3, because it's 3. I would have to throw in Shaq. I mean, I would say Bill Russell. I didn't see him play.
Yeah.
I'm shocked you ain't say LeBron.
Yeah. Not really.
Look, man. Kobe guys don't ride with LeBron that way.
Hold on. Yes. See. Thank you. See. Listen. I have nothing but respect for LeBron, but see, the thing is with LeBron, LeBron, sometimes he doesn't give it to me because sometimes I feel he plays too soft. And I also feel like this man, you are a freight train, you know, and I get it. Maybe your body is tired. I don't know. But man, sometimes when you want to put it on, you put it on. But I'm like, if you could do this at will, you can be this so-called GOAT that people are arguing about. But here's the thing. I've seen LeBron James give up on defense too many times. I've seen LeBron James struggle in high school. Like when he was supposed to be this phenom. You know, he was struggling then. He didn't win championships like that. What he won his last one?
He won a championship his senior year.
Right. But he got there his junior year too, but they lost.
I mean, I'm not gonna hold him to that.
It's like LeBron, but it's like this. LeBron's every first chance he got, he always loses.
I'm not gonna hold him to losing a championship when he was 15. But I mean, to the soft thing. Look, if you look at LeBron, clearly he doesn't pattern his game based on his body size. Like if he patterned his game based on his body size, he'd be a power forward. But he really is the remix of Magic Johnson.
I understand.
He's a pass first guy. In my opinion, he just happens to be huge and can
score. Here's my problem with him though. Mm-hmm. Just like you said, he's huge. So when you have a guy like Stephen Curry in front of you, why don't you go right through him? It's an easy basket or a foul. Curry can't stop that.
I mean, that's a great point. That's I mean, I would imagine that's what happened the year that Cleveland actually did win the World Championship over the Golden State. Is it was Kyrie and LeBron switching all the time, and they switched Steph onto LeBron. You see what happens is, and I see why people have criticisms of LeBron. A lot of times when LeBron gets into the finals, then he starts, backing guards down the post. Mm-hmm. Like he gets to the business of finals, but during the regular season, man, he's Magic Johnson, bro. He's out here trying to pass the ball around, trying to get everybody involved because he knows he can get his. But he also knows he has to give his teammates confidence. Like a guy with LeBron, he got mostly role players around him. He don't have a ton of talent around him. He got mostly role players, so you got to give him confidence. Kind of like what D Wade was saying back in the day, when the team became trash and he was averaging like 30 something a game, and they had basically Michael Beasley and Dwayne Wade, and he was just like, I'm not putting up 1 million shots a game because I want these guys to get confidence. So when we need them to, when it's a ride or die situation, the moment isn't too big for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean. I'm like all Miami fan, Heat, Marlins, Dolphins, you name it. And for me, like I'm not a bitter LeBron hating Miami fan. Like I appreciate championships. You come to my franchise, you give me championships, I'm gonna be appreciative of that. But I mean, I done seen. I think the main thing. Here's the main thing. I think Kobe and Michael Jordan were, and this might actually be why people kind of like them a bit more than LeBron, is that these dudes are kind of dickheads. Like, kind of like if you watch Hell's Kitchen and you see Gordon Ramsay out there yelling at people, yet. Like, if he was yelling at you, you'd hate him, but when you're watching it, you love it. I think it's kind of like that, where you look at LeBron, you look at Kobe, you look at Michael, you see them getting on their teammates, digging into them, and you like, yeah, get into them. But if you was a teammate, you didn't like that very much. But LeBron, that's just not his vibe. He's not out here he's trying to be everybody's friend, basically.
And I don't have a problem with none of that. I mean, you want to be friends with the league, no problem. But at the same time, everybody's goal is to win a championship. You can't sit up here and tell me you want to win, and then when everything starts to get tough, then all of a sudden you're just out there like a chicken with his head cut off. You don't all of a sudden know what to do. I mean, we've seen him in Miami, the one we know the shot. Come on, Ray Allen.
Mm-hmm.
This man was bungling. He was bungling. If it wasn't for Chris Bosh with the offensive board and the pass out to Ray Allen, LeBron probably would be sitting on maybe just one championship with the Heat. We don't know what would have happened the next year. We don't. Maybe they might have gotten revenge on the Spurs the next year had he lost that year, but we don't know. But I just feel like like you say, he doesn't like to use his body like most guys you would probably. But I just feel like when you have that ability, and I feel like you can use it to your advantage, just go for it. Why not? Because I feel like if Michael Jordan was that size, he'd definitely kill everybody with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I mean, I think what we're talking about now is that the killer mentality. In my opinion, LeBron is probably, outside of Andre Miller, probably the most cerebral player in the league. He prefers, like, he may be the biggest, fastest, strongest dude, but he really sees himself as a chess master. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not like Giannis is a dude who's all body, right? Like, he's Euro stepping from half court to the basket, basically. LeBron is trying to beat you with his mind, and sometimes that's not what's called for, but that's who he is.
He wants to give you the Tim Duncan of the game.
But I will say this much though. If you make it to the NBA Finals and your second best player is Mo Williams, I gotta tip my cap to you.
Oh, Havoc.
I gotta tip my cap to you, man.
I'm not even gonna touch on that. Joe, we gonna switch over to your Cowboys here.
Okay.
First things first. I know it's a very, very disappointing season for your Dallas Cowboys because I know y'all have big expectations almost every single year. But do you think if Dak Prescott would have remained in the lineup for all 16 games, y'all would have made the playoffs?
Yes.
Yes.
I think with Dak Prescott in the lineup, we would have made the playoffs.
Okay. Now, with that being said,
I agree with him, by the way.
Here we go with this question. Does Dak Prescott have a future with the Dallas Cowboys, considering the fact he had the dislocated ankle and the compound fracture? And there's talks about them ended up giving him another franchise tag, which I believe we discussed this backstage. It's going to be $37.7 million in a franchise tag, which they had to give him a long-term deal by March 9th. So as far as Dak Prescott in the Dallas Cowboys uniform, do you think that's going to happen?
Do I think it's going to happen? I think so.
Long term or another franchise tag? Let me
both.
Clarify that. Both.
Both. I think Dak, because right now the person that's doing all the talking that's coming out of Dak's camp is basically his brother with the little shade that he's throwing out there all the time. Every time he's seeing or hearing something about Dak, you're never hearing anything from Dak. And why is that? Because Dak is too much of a nice guy. And Dak accepted the first franchise tag. Look what happened to him. I think Dak would accept the second one just because he'll know now whoever does decide to pay him after this season, you have to give him 37 or better. And he was already asking for 40. So if he has a good season wherever he's at, don't you think somebody's going to have to pay him?
I was just saying for the Dallas Cowboys perspective, considering how they've been flirting with that for the past couple of years.
Right, and that's why I think the Cowboys is going to sit up there and pay him. They're gonna milk this all the way down to as far as they can. And this is it right here. This is the straw. Right after this, because all his money right now, it's going to be guaranteed. So take this. You force them to give you what you want. And it's going to happen. It's going to be in Dallas.
kind of reminds me of a scenario that a lot of NFL franchises end up in, where you have maybe not. I would say Dak Prescott is a very good, bordering on the edge of being a great quarterback. Not the greatest, but very good, bordering on being a great quarterback. And a lot of franchises, they mess up their future, giving these dudes these record-breaking contracts. Look at the Rams. You had your boy Jared Goff out there, gave him one good season, got paid, and then eventually, what was, in my opinion, very apparent, because Todd Gurley gave him all that cover fire all season, dude was trash. And so now you have a very expensive piece of trash on your roster. Now, I'm not saying if you pay Dak that's going to happen, but I am a little hesitant to give a very good player like 20% of my cap. You know what I mean? Like, that's
at some point in time, you're gonna have to give it up.
Yes,
if you have a franchise quarterback.
I understand. Yes, you do. Yes, I understand. At a certain point, it's Dak Prescott or Ben DiNucci. So I get it. It's a virtual gun to your head, basically, and that man's gonna get paid. And the fact that you paid Amari and Zeke first, when you should have taken care of him first. When you should have taken care of Dak first. He's the quarterback. His price is only going to go up higher and higher. And his price is bound to go up much higher than Amari Cooper or Ezekiel Elliott's price would go up. So, of course, you want to take care of him first. So, in my opinion, the Cowboys have just messed this whole situation up. But Dak will be back.
Hey, let me ask you this. Everybody can answer. All right, number one, I can't think of that redhead dude's name. Dalton got hit, and nobody really cared. Remember?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. If that was Dak Prescott he got hit, do you think there'll be repercussions or the same thing?
I think the Cowboys were checked out of last season, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you watch it. They look like they were checked out all season, in my opinion.
And I think they would have came to Texas.
Yeah, but I mean, it's almost like a lost season for them. You know what I mean?
It was, and
yeah.
At that point, because when was that? Like 2 weeks, a week later, or 2 weeks after Dak's injury?
Yeah, I think it might have been like the next week or so, something like that.
Right, so it was like week 6 or week 7, so it wasn't really. I mean, they only had one win probably at that time because it was against the Falcons.
Yeah, but even if Dak was, I mean, I would agree with you that the Cowboys would have made the playoffs just because the NFC East was terrible. It was a terrible conference.
Right, because look at what they had a chance. It came down to the last game of the season.
I saw a team with a losing record go to the playoffs. Like, the NFC East is trash, bro.
This is the second time I've seen this.
So, you know, at a certain point, like, could they have done it? I don't see how they couldn't have if Dak was healthy. But at a certain point, you got to pay that man.
Yeah, I believe that they would have done something, because you look at the Redskins situation. Oh, my bad. Excuse me. Not the
Washington
Redskins.
football.
The Washington football team. You look at them and the Dwayne Haskins situation and how that just went crazy for them. And then the Eagles with Carson Wentz, they don't know what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Giants, Daniel Jones can't keep his feet, you know. So it's like everything that can go wrong just went wrong over there.
So let's look forward to 2021. How do you see your Cowboys?
Long as Jerry Jones is still doing what he does, we'll be 8-8.
You're going with 8-8. You're not going. You're not going above 500.
Okay, a good 9-7.
That's doable.
Is that the Dallas Cowboys, the NFC East champions?
Yep. Nope. Nope. Nope.
I like it. You honest. Who's the NFC East champion?
It depends on what the Washington football team does. Their defensive line is on point. Give them a quarterback. Give them Dak. And watch. Just watch.
Well,
because that's all he's going to really need.
Washington's bringing back Heineke, who started that playoff game for him.
Yeah, they got him up for a 2-year deal.
After 2 years, $8 million. He may actually be he might actually be something. So,
I still would recommend the Washington football team of possibly looking at a quarterback in the draft too as well, though.
So where are they at? No, I don't know where they are. Are they even in position to get a quarterback right now?
No.
Well, they ain't got to get a first round draft quarterback, but probably like a second rounder to bring in some competition, because it's not like Heineke was a first round pick where you're not exactly invested in him.
Yeah, they like him a lot though. Like, I don't know what it is about him. Maybe it's like the underdog story. A dude who came in and did his job, basically. Because it appears that everyone all his teammates ride with him, and he only been around for a few weeks. So, and it kind of goes back to earlier conversations we had. We don't see the practices, we don't see the the locker room interactions that these guys have. So, there's something about him, man. They're riding with him. That being said, they'll ride with you until they bring in someone better than you.
Right.
So we'll have to see.
Well, it's funny how you didn't say the Philadelphia Eagles was going to end up winning the division, because I feel like it's going to be close between. Well, it's going to be close between all three of y'all, because I don't think none of y'all are that very good. Maybe Philly and New York, if they figure out their quarterback situation, because I feel like New York's defense is extremely underrated. But this poses my next question. When it comes down to all these franchise quarterbacks possibly being traded, Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, and Deshaun Watson, which quarterback do you think is going to end up being traded first? Or has a better chance of being traded? Let me ask you that. A better chance to be traded.
Well, rumor is Carson Wentz is supposed to have been traded sometime this week already. So maybe he's moving first. I don't know where. I mean, Chicago, Indy been needing a quarterback since Andrew Luck left.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they tried Jacoby Brissett, didn't work out.
Yeah.
I feel like that one. Carson Wentz is the interesting one, because nobody's willing to give up a first round pick for Carson Wentz.
I mean, I think if you look at the situation, Russell Wilson doesn't really want to be traded. He just wants offensive linemen. That's a smoke screen. He don't want to go nowhere. Now Wentz, he may be. You know who Carson Wentz reminds me of? Carson Wentz reminds me of Jeff Gannon, the quarterback for the Raiders, who didn't really put it together until he was in his early 30s. And then he paired up with the right coach, got him the right receivers, gave him the right system, and he had an MVP season. So that's who, when I look at Carson Wentz, that's who I kind of compare him to. He's kind of like Jeff Gannon right now, where you see the talent, he can run a little bit, he can throw the ball a little bit. I don't know if he's getting contrasting information from the coaching staff, because he's horrible in the pocket. I mean, they're not giving him any favors. If you look at the wide receivers he has to work with in Philadelphia, but or the coaching, quite frankly, that's why the coach got fired.
I was about to say, Havoc, be careful.
Doug Peterson, boy, I mean, how do you go from dialing up the Philly special in the Super Bowl to having clear time management issues? You're having clear substitution issues. You're having clear quarterback issues. Like, the whole thing fell apart. And quite honestly, the whole thing basically fell apart as soon as the Super Bowl was over. They brought back basically the same team, and that team was not the same team. So Wentz may just be that the administration in Philly just didn't have it together, and Wentz may be a casualty of that. Now, in terms of Watson, who knows?
Who knows with Watson?
Who knows, man? I hear something different every single day. So who knows at this point?
Now there's a rumor now. There's a possibility there's going to be a 4-way trade. Did y'all hear that rumor?
Nope. With who?
Okay, so it's a rumor about a 4-team trade. Those 4 teams are the New York Jets, the San Francisco 49ers, the Houston Texans, and the Seattle Seahawks. The Jets will receive Russell Wilson. The 49ers will receive Deshaun Watson. The Houston Texans will receive Sam Darnold, 3 first-round picks, and 1 second. And the Seattle Seahawks will receive Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Bosa, and 2 first-round picks.
That trade is never going to happen. Number one.
Wow.
That trade. That is a straight Madden trade. That is never happening.
It's a possibility.
Nick Bosa?
I can see it. Yeah,
no.
I can see it.
No, that ain't happening.
But
why would they give up Nick Bosa?
Because you got to think about it. Russell Wilson's a franchise quarterback. Deshaun Watson, franchise quarterback. In return, the Texans are getting 3 first-round picks and a second for Deshaun Watson. And then you look at the Houston Texans. Not the Houston Texans. The Seattle Seahawks for Russell Wilson. They're getting 2 first-round picks and Nick Bosa. So I think that's even.
Mm-hmm. They ain't moving Nick Bosa.
Oh, he is coming off of ACL tear too as well. So let's also take that into consideration. I understand the talent.
I mean, let's take into consideration half the superstars in the league got torn ACLs. Like that ain't, you know what I mean? That ain't what it used to be, where dudes tear ACLs and they just don't. They're just not good anymore. Like half these dudes got torn ACLs these days now. You know what I mean?
As a matter of fact, Watson tore his twice, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He got a torn ACL. He done torn. He ain't got no more ACLs to tear.
and they want to give 3 first rounds for that.
Hey, you know what? Quint Ritter was in the chat last night. I was on Mace's channel. By the way, shout out to Mace Taggart, excellent streaming channel, and it opened my eyes a little bit as far as the worth of those first round picks. What good is a first round pick if you're in the conversation of being in the Super Bowl every year?
Exactly.
They're almost second round picks. So why are we too concerned about the first round picks if we're adding that player to take us over the hump to getting into the Super Bowl?
Because you still got to play the games and you still got to win or lose them. So we still don't know those outcomes yet, because we can still say that these people who take these picks, end up with good talent and still be a good team.
That's understandable. You still don't know what your outcome is going to be as far as that particular season, but still,
because you still got to pick right. I mean, we were talking about Dak Prescott earlier, and who would have known that you was going to get Dak in the 4th round or whatever, and look what he ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
A game manager.
However, it could be that. I mean,
he threw for a whole lot. He threw for a whole lot of yards for a game manager.
Let's remember who was leading the league or second into leading the league before the injury.
Hey,
he threw a whole lot of yards for being a game manager.
See what the record was for the Dallas Cowboys at that time. I believe it was 2-3, wasn't it? They were sub 500.
A 2-3 record with a top 2 quarterback in the NFL.
Top 2? Who?
He was before the injury. That's what I'm trying to say.
Don't be ridiculous.
No,
don't be ridiculous.
No, don't be ridiculous, bro.
Don't be ridiculous.
So he wasn't. So you're telling me Dak wasn't top 2 in the league before his injury?
No.
In yards, he wasn't.
No.
Okay.
And I'm sorry. I'm
okay.
sorry, Joe, but if you are throwing your way back into the game, those are all empty list stats to me.
Okay.
Those are Kirk Cousins yards. Empty calories.
No, that ain't Kirk Cousins.
Ryan Tannehill yards.
Oh, now here he come. Okay. Okay, so Shake, since you winged that up, also again, shout out to Mace Taggart and actually Quint Riddle, actually, because he brought this to my attention. Go look up the Tennessee Titans defensive rankings for last year.
Who?
I want to shake because he always want to take a shot at Ryan Tannehill every chance he gets. But going back to Dak Prescott, Joe, because I remember watching the Dallas Cowboys pretty closely when Dak Prescott was in the starting lineup. He did not help your team win games when he was sitting back throwing picks and fumbling.
Okay.
So, with that being said, he put his team in situations where they had to be throwing themselves back into the football game.
But let's be honest here. Come on, let's be honest here. The defense did not play a part with all of that. I'm just saying, wait, hold on. Did the defense not play a part with all that? Where Dak has to constantly keep coming back on the field? Mm-hmm. Any quarterback, any offense that had to keep coming back on the field because the defense either kept giving up the big plays or whatever. Like you mean you throw an interception and then you're right back on the field in one play.
My question is, you throw that interception, but you put your defense in a worse situation by putting the opposing offense on the short field.
True, that's true.
So, I think you take off maybe 21 points if you don't turn the ball over.
Not only just him too. Zeke fumbled the ball too. Now.
Zeke's another problem because I feel like he made Andy Dalton look a whole lot. Well, he made Andy Dalton look bad in general by turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zeke might be Zeke might be the kid. Might be turning into the test case of why you don't give running backs big contracts.
Well, isn't that what Pittsburgh showed Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Not just Pittsburgh, the Chargers with Melvin Gordon.
Because I'll say it to you like this: last season for Zeke was not good. He was not. That was not a good season last season.
Did he get over 1,000?
No.
900 something.
No,
900 something.
He had his lowest yards per carry average, lowest yards. Was not a good season for him. Tied for the most fumbles ever. I mean, he's had fumbling problems since he came into the league, but
they just got worse every year.
Not getting any better.
So,
but the offensive line has also deteriorated too over the years.
Yes, they have.
And it don't matter who you have in the backfield, your offensive line. If you don't have that, I don't care who you with.
And I think a lot of people, when you talk about Dak, I think Dak is a very good quarterback. I don't think he's a game changer in my opinion. I think he's very good. I just don't think he's like a game breaker, right? Like if you give him the receivers, you give him the O-line, give him the running back.
Well, damn, you got everything. You got everything.
And he'll play his role. And
you know what? That's why they ain't make the playoffs in 2019.
Man,
because
when it was Dak's their defense was trash.
No, when it was Dak in 2019, when it was Dak's time to step up his game to win the game, what did he do, Joe?
Bungle.
Are you aware that he has the most game-winning drives in his first 3 seasons of any quarterback in NFL history? Number one.
That's nice.
What? He has a what?
14 game-winning drives in his first 3 seasons in the league. That's number one.
Right. Okay.
So, you got, in my opinion, I'm looking at the defense saying,
"Oh my God, it's the defense fault now."
The defense. Hasn't not.
Well,
I mean, they got a lot of highly paid players on their defense, but that defense is not good.
Our secondary has been trash since T.O. been over there. Okay, so listen. I mean, when T.O. was there, we had guys in the secondary. Come on, Ant. You remember Roy Williams? I couldn't stand that dude. You know, Barry Church. Come on, people. Now we got guys like you moving from corner to safety, from safety to corner. You don't know what you want to do. You had Byron Jones. You let him go to the Dolphins. Now what? Now what? We're projected to get another corner. Like, what is going on? Like, we just can't keep a secondary for nothing.
Hey, you got
Earl.
You still have an opportunity to get Earl. Why you ain't go get Earl?
Listen, that's Jerry's fault. Listen, listen. I'm trying to tell you. Listen, I've said it before. I hate to say this, but listen, the Cowboys is not going to win nothing until Jerry is out of there. Like, I'm sorry, it's not happening. We're going to see other people host up that trophy, and we're going to still be looking back to 1995.
Didn't Earl Thomas look at Jerry Jones and say, "Come get me"?
Yeah.
No, not Earl. Not to Jerry. He did it to Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett. He said, "Yeah." He's like, "Come get me."
Yeah. He chased him down in the locker room, in the tunnel. He chased him down in the tunnel and told him to come get me. And when I first saw it, I thought he was confronting Jason Garrett about something. I'm like, oh, something happened in the game that I must
want to trade.
He's like, come get me. And it never happened. And I'm like, the man's out there sitting on his couch and Jerry still ain't. Like, I don't know what you're doing, man. And then our defense is out here looking like Iraq out there, bombs galore.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate. Although if I'm the Seahawks, Earl Thomas, you can't fly back with the team, man. You got to find your own way back home. If you go to the coach of the other team and say, "Come get me," no, you ain't flying back with the team.
Bro, that dude's a savage though. I'll never forget when he got injured that year. And he gave
the finger to his own team.
Man, that man went hard. That dude went hard.
Screw y'all.
That's not a leader, but he went hard though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think when you look at it, because he was an integral part of that Legion of Boom, but he wasn't the leader of the Legion of Boom. Richard Sherman was the leader of the Legion of Boom.
It was Earl. It was Earl.
Earl might have been the most talented, but I'm talking about the leader.
Been there the longest.
I'm talking about the leader.
It was Earl. It was Earl and Cam. It was Earl and Cam.
I don't know about that one. I know. I just don't know.
I built the Legion of Boom.
What, on Madden?
Yes, I built them. I'm not even playing. I built the Legion of Boom. This is back when Josh Portis was on the Seattle Seahawks as their quarterback.
You gotta stop making these Madden arguments, man. They don't make you look good.
Bruh, I'm telling you, I be building these things before they come out, and then that make me look like a genius. People be sleeping on 2K and Madden, but it paints a clear picture how you want your team to look.
First of all, when it comes to Madden, I'm in a coma. I'm not even sleeping on it. I'm in a coma. I'm done with that game. and I just heard they're making NCAA, another NCAA game. Have mercy on all of us, because it's a shame what they've done to Madden. But that being said, all I know is everywhere Richard Sherman goes, that defense becomes top 10 on site. And Earl Thomas, once the pieces of the Legion of Boom left, things went downhill real quick.
I just think that was just right place, right time for Richard Sherman for him to come to the Niners, because you gotta look at what they had in their front seven. Like, those are all Pro Bowl players.
I mean, but he had Pro Bowl players at Seattle too. He had Bobby Wagner out there up front.
Who's still playing on a high level.
So, I mean, you know what I mean? let's keep it a buck. Richard Sherman, a Hall of Famer. Let's keep it a buck. He a Hall of Famer. When it's all said and done, he gonna be a Hall of Famer.
That's debatable, but okay.
I don't know, man.
That's debatable. Joe, what you think, man? What you think?
He is the best zone quarterback of his time.
Okay, as long as he said zone.
Yeah.
As long as he said zone. Because Richard Sherman, man, right.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about zone.
That's what I'm saying. As long as you say zone, I mean, I could probably say he's one of the best zone guys out there. I mean, for his age.
Is Rondae Barber in the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
Rondae Barber, yes.
I think so. Yeah. If he isn't, he should be. But I'm pretty sure that he is.
Wait. Are you asking, is he in now or should he be?
I'm asking you, is he in right now? And
I don't think he is right now.
Okay, so I rest my case then. He's a zone corner on one of the best defenses of all time. How many rings? One ring?
So Rondae Barber is on the short list. He was a finalist this year to be in the Hall of Fame.
And he's been retired for how long?
A minute.
So do we really think Richard Sherman's a Hall of Famer?
Hold on a second. But John Lynch retired a long time ago too. And he just made it to the Hall of Fame.
He just made it to the Hall of Fame. I mean,
I feel like John got in because he's a general manager now.
But no, he got in. You know, when they're doing this Hall of Fame, they're basing it off of his play. It ain't about him being a GM now.
Yes, it is. Havoc. You'd be surprised. I mean, based on play alone, he's a Hall of Famer. He don't need the GM part to get him into the Hall. It's not about it's in any business. It's not about what you know in this particular conversation. It's not how good you played. It's about who you know. I strongly believe when John Lynch got that general manager seat, he got put in the right room with the right people to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I mean, considering that the journalists put you in the Hall of Fame, you know, look, in any industry, there's a term called greasing the wheels. I'm not saying John Lynch is above greasing the wheels. Because if I look at dudes like Drew Pearson, who just made it to the Hall of Fame this year, but for the past 10 years, every year he does not make it, his family records him being heartbroken and puts it on the internet. If I'm John Lynch, I'm not trying to be Drew Pearson out here 70-something years old begging to get into the Hall. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Well, you look at Zach Thomas, he ain't in the Hall either, so
he'll be there eventually. He'll be there.
Eventually? Well, just to touch on this real fast, I feel like that's a slap in the face you put Calvin Johnson in before you put Zach Thomas up in there.
I mean, come on now.
Come on now, what?
Megatron had a 2,000-yard season.
That's nice.
But wait. Hold on. But Zach Thomas was knocking people out, man, in his first, year in the league, for an undersized linebacker.
Zach Thomas is a no-doubt, no-brainer Hall of Famer to me. He's a no-brainer Hall of Famer to me. But
hey, check this out.
Hey, man.
I want to bring this up real quick. I was listening to I listened to the Fish Tank, and one of my favorite guests was Kim Bokamper. I really suggest you should listen to it because not only does it give you an insight about the Dolphins, but a good insight on the NFL as well. I'm gonna bring out my second insight right after I bring this one up. You guys heard of Nick Boccani?
You mean Nick Bonaconte?
Yeah, Nick Bonaconte. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying that he should be in the Hall of Fame. He said it's a crime that he's not. Because number one, he was an all-pro. He was an all-pro not only as a tackle, but an all-pro as a guard. He played in all 5 Super Bowls that the Dolphins were in. And on top of that, he said one time, for 8 weeks, he broke his back, whatever. And Monday through Saturday, he'd be in a cast. And then Saturday night, they cut it off and he'd play. And after the game, they put him back into the cast for until the following week. He goes, if that man isn't in the Hall of Fame, he goes, it's a shame that he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's like, damn, that kind of messes my head too. Imagine that, an all-pro, not Pro Bowl, all-pro in 2 positions and 5 Super Bowl appearances and not in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, look, when it comes to offensive linemen, I think that the standard is clearly set. You got to be the guy to get in.
The proof is in the pudding that it's about stats, basically.
Yeah, Richmond Webb can't even get into the Hall of Fame.
It ain't about stats, man. I'm telling you, it ain't about stats. It's about who you know.
To get in the Hall of Fame, you think so?
Absolutely. Where's Randy Moss right now?
Randy Moss is in the Hall of Fame.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Where's he work at though?
Yes.
All right then.
Randy Moss is like, come on now.
I'm just saying, if Randy Moss was a first ballot Hall of Famer,
yes.
Why wasn't T.O. a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Because journalists don't like T.O.
Yeah, Skip Bayless. People like Skip Bayless was the reason why he wasn't put in the Hall of Fame. Skip Bayless was the one trashing this man's name every chance he got. You know what I'm saying? When you had all these people that stuck up for T.O. all these years, from people in the locker room, Skip Bayless also countered it with saying that he had people in the locker room that said T.O., was a negative person or whatever. So it's like, we don't know what the other journalist was thinking or heard about T.O. as well. I just know off of what Skip Bayless always talks about. So when you have people like that, that's a reason why some people are not getting in.
So you think his voice has that much reach to keep him out of the Hall of Fame for 2 straight tries?
Not just him. I mean, just whoever else is.
Journalists are mad petty, bro. Journalists are mad.
It was
petty.
funny. It was really funny that on the NFL Network when they had their top 100 players of all time, and they had Steve Largent on the list, and I can't remember Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, but there was no T.O. on the list as far as top receivers of all time. And I remember Deion Sanders asking the lady reporter, why wasn't he on the top 100? She was forcing it, tried her best not to point out the real reason why he wasn't in the top 100 receivers of all time. Well, top 100
are
players
mad
of all
petty,
time.
bro.
I'm sure.
I mean, think of it like this. At the time Dan Marino retired, he had all the records, right? Like, he basically had all the records when he retired. He was not a unanimous selection for the Hall of Fame. Some of these journalists, they got an axe to grind, bro. And there are quite a few that had an axe to grind against T.O. They knew they couldn't keep him out forever, but they did keep him from being a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's disrespectful, to be honest. If it doesn't have first ballot at the beginning of it, then what is the Hall of Fame really at that time?
I mean, look, I think if you look at T.O.'s accomplishments, he's top 5 in everything.
Top three.
Basically. So there's not a statistical argument you can make about, T.O. not being in the Hall of Fame. Journalists are petty. Like, there are people who are, and it's not just football. Like, Derek Jeter wasn't a unanimous Hall of Fame selection. Mariano Rivera wasn't a unanimous Hall. Like, there are people who actually left these guys off their ballots. So you got to look at the guys doing the voting, man.
That's true.
To be fair, it was only one guy that didn't vote for Derek Jeter, so it's like 9 out of 10.
But how do you even get one guy? You know what I mean? Like,
everybody has their opinion. I can understand if it was majority said that they didn't want to vote
and say he's not, like, it's impossible.
Everybody got an opinion.
Well, that's a shitty opinion.
All right. Last topic of the day. Last topic of the day. Right. So JJ Watt ended up getting released by the Houston Texans this week. I just wanted to go over real fast the credentials we got going on here. It was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, 10 seasons with the Houston Texans. Had over 101 sacks, 2 20-sack seasons in the 2012 season, the 2014 season, was Defensive Player of the Year, 2012, 2014, 2015. Also won the NFL Walter Payton Player of the Year award during the Hurricane Harvey season. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Now, with JJ Watt being 32 years old next month, what is the best possible landing spot for JJ Watt?
I say play with his brothers. The Steelers.
Green Bay. They need defense.
History just tells me New England.
I don't know, man. I think JJ
New England take big time names like this for a year. Mm-hmm. You know, especially with what they did this past season and whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, I see them or Pittsburgh.
I can see Pittsburgh because his brother played there, but JJ's at a point in his career, man. He's trying to both his brothers actually. But he's at a point. He's trying to win something. So if you're trying to win something, I don't know if going to New England is.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a totally different story now. You ain't got Tom Brady there. Mm-hmm. Now, ain't no players going to be taking no discounts to go to New England. They want full price.
For me, I would say I'm looking at Pittsburgh and I'm looking at Green Bay.
Listen, take a pay cut. If you go to Pittsburgh, you're taking a pay cut anyway. So if you're taking a pay cut and you want to win, man, you better jump on one of these teams like Kansas City.
And why would you want to go to Pittsburgh, though, if you want to win a championship? You want to go to Kansas City.
But but that's the
he might go to Tampa.
To play with his brother. The Pittsburgh thing is to play with his brothers. That's something they always said they wanted to do. That's what that would be about. But I feel like if he goes anywhere else, it'll be for the championship, and it'll be probably one of those championship type teams that has that potential.
Well, since we having the Hall of Fame conversation, do you think JJ Watt will be a first ballot Hall of Famer without that Super Bowl ring?
I'll tell you this much.
Yes.
The second he picked up all them groceries and gave them and raised all that money for all them people in Houston, that was the nail in the coffin. He's in. He's in. That was a nail in the coffin.
He's in first ballot Hall of Famer. Shake, you think so too?
Yeah, I could see it.
It's just because his run was so strong. I'm talking about multiple 20-plus. Man had multiple 20-plus sack seasons.
Like best defense of everything in franchise over there.
At one point in time, he was going to go down as the best defensive player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Then the injuries came, right?
Yeah, then the injuries came. So
yeah, I say, man. The only defensive lineman I've seen more, like in terms of just dominance on par with JJ, is probably two guys. It's probably Aaron Donald and Reggie White.
Lawrence Taylor?
Lawrence Taylor was a linebacker.
Well, a pass rusher.
I'm talking about exclusively D lineman.
Technically, it's still a pass rush is a pass rusher.
We talking about we're talking about in the 80s, and the Giants were running a 4-3 defense. So, you know what I mean?
But he rushed the passer though.
He did, but he was a linebacker.
Y'all older than us. What y'all think?
I mean, both of y'all are saying the same thing. I just think it's just broken down by position.
I'm talking about exclusively D
lineman.
You're
talking about a D lineman, a defensive end, defensive tackle, and he's mentioning linebacker, which is just a pass rusher off the edge.
Yeah. I mean like,
listen, same difference.
But if you want to make that argument, then you're talking more about the Von Millers is more of a comparison to Lawrence Taylor, I would say, than a JJ Watt.
But hey, yo, real quick though. Let me ask Joe before we go. It's traditional. Give me your top real quickly. Your top 3 wide receivers and your top 3 quarterbacks.
Top 3 wide receivers. Jerry Rice. Oh man.
The second one should be hard to think about. It should be T.O.
T.O. or Randy Moss. But I think, I like both of them equally to me. But I'm gonna have to go with T.O.
My man.
Cause they tried T.O., man. You know, I mean, for a guy like Ant brought up this guy, Nick, with the body cast all week long and having to come out there and play a game. We got a dude who had his ankle broken and missed the whole rest of the season and missed the whole playoffs and came back and was the best player in the Super Bowl and lost.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
Okay, so I'm assuming Randy Moss is your number 3.
Yes.
Okay, so now I ask for the top 3 quarterbacks right now.
Top 3 quarterbacks. Joe Montana.
He's number 1 or he's number 3?
He's number 1.
Ha! Please continue.
I'm gonna rock with I'm gonna rock with Dan Marino. Dan Marino did a lot of stuff during a lot of physical times.
How that Henny taste, Shake? How that Henny taste?
Good.
Okay, Joe Montana, Dan Marino.
And I mean, I don't want to put Tom Brady up in this, but man, you can't deny the man for what he's done. No matter however you feel about him.
I think I would put him at my number 3 too.
I'll put him there, just for his account. And off of just his strength because he won this year. I mean, I don't know. If I could think of anybody else, if he didn't win this year and I could think of somebody else right now, I would have put them there probably. But it would have to been a strong argument on why that person would have been there over him.
I 100% respect that, Joe.
I don't. But hey, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
All right, fellas. Final thoughts before we end up closing this out.
As always, pleasure to come on here, chop it up. Appreciate our special guest Joe coming on.
No problem.
Putting us up on game. As always, man, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I hope he could come on a little bit more, a little more frequent. Because I tell you what, this is my brother. We we're not blood relatives, but he's my brother. You know what I'm saying? We've been rocking for so long that no matter what, man, we family, and I appreciate him for coming on, man. Thank you.
No problem, dog.
Absolutely. We most definitely appreciate you coming on, Joe. Hopefully we can have you back on sometime in the near future. Honestly, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what the Dallas Cowboys do in 2021 as far as Dak Prescott is concerned. But to those in the chat, I appreciate everybody that came through in the chat. Lighten up the comment section. Also, be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. We're going to be back Wednesday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Like I said, be sure to go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, most definitely share. You can also listen to us on other streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. This is the Not For Debate. We're up out of here, man.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.